Hello and welcome back to Level 7 Games, where we are beyond stoked for the Resident Evil 4 remake. And to celebrate, we started a tier list of every single Resident Evil game. We've already covered the main titles in a past video, which you can check out right here. Woo! I know, super inventive, you've never seen that happen before, but let's get on to the spin-offs that everyone and their mom have been completely wrong about until now. Not a lot to say about this one. It was the first time that Resident Evil went to first person. It's not a great game, but it also has an aura of ridiculous fun about it, with arcade-like shooting galleries and some of the worst voice acting in the entire series.
Please forgive me.
What are you talking about? It's not your fault.
It's like a beautiful B-movie in game form, and I love it. But it deserves to be in the C tier. It's really not that well built. The first handheld Resident Evil game, because we do not speak of this garbage. And I know most people hate this game, but I bet it's only because they've never actually played it. Which is understandable, it's freaking hard to get your hands on. But for being a Game Boy Color game, Gaiden is a solid entry to the Resident Evil franchise. Gaiden has great mechanics for fighting, the level layouts are challenging but fun, and the story is another campy, fun time. Think of this as a spin-off and you'll understand the A-tier rating. This is what Survivor was trying to be. Exploration in the third person, and shooting in first person. That's just a kick-ass combo. And it's set on a boat! That's the third boat so far. The only controller that you actually need to play this game is a GunCon 2, which is surprisingly easy to control it all with. And it is a blast to play through. The story and voice acting should have been better by this time in the Resident Evil history, but you know what? That doesn't change the fact that this is a solid B-tier game with just really fun shooting mechanics. It might seem lazy to talk about both of these at the same time, but that's how these games play. They're only slightly different, with characters only being slightly different in slightly different scenarios. But these games are fun, and probably the hardest games in the whole series, mainly due to the online necessary aspect of it all. But you can't play it online anymore now, can you? So you have to go it alone. And with AI partners this dumb, it's a challenge. But if you want to see how Raccoon went to shit, these are totally necessary, and play like old school Resident Evil with Veronica-like camera angles. It's B-tier games.
Resident Evil.
An on-rails shooter on the Wii. The only thing that needs to be said about this is that it's very middle of the road. It's okay gameplay, not a whole story, but kind of snippets and scenes from, I believe, Resident Evils 1 through 3. You know, it's Resident Evil, the Cliff Notes version, but it's still pretty good. It's a B-tier game. Almost the same as Umbrella Chronicles, but the gameplay is better this go around, and we actually see set pieces from Resident Evil 2, Veronica, and Resident Evil 4, including how Leon already knew Krauser by Resident Evil 4. It's Resident Evil The Cliff Notes Part 2, with better graphics and a heads-up display, making it just that much better than the first one, and that's all it needs to be to land in the A tier. Another 3DS game, but not really. This was a full-price game, but it only has the Mercenaries side game. It's okay because Mercenaries is fun, and it plays well on the 3DS, shockingly. But there should be so much more to this to justify owning it. It's a C-tier game. This move might make you all hate me. I hope it doesn't, and that you actually hear me out. Operation Raccoon City is a hell of a good game. The item management is fun. The enemies are varied. The set piece is Raccoon City and all of the crazy laboratories sets inside of Raccoon City during the middle of everything getting overthrown by monsters. And the story is a what-if scenario of Umbrella sending in some serious badasses to get the G-Virus. Sure, some of the mechanics of cover shooting could be improved, but they're already pretty decent. And the DLC of playing as opposing team to the Umbrella team is just pure fun. There are different class types to play through the game with, making the replayability top notch. Give this game a chance, and you might understand my A tier rating of it. If not, that's cool, but this is my list after all, and it f***ing belongs here.
Umbrella Corps.
Trust me, this game is bad. It was Capcom's jab at an esport game with just a known name thrown on top of it. In short, the single player is the most basic, repetitive, boring thing I think I can even imagine. Look at where his gun is. That is proof alone that the people working on this are idiots. And the online portion, the only portion Capcom even tried to build, is just so dull. There's nothing inventive about it. This is what true lack of attention to detail, care, or even respect for the source material give you. The people that made this. This and this alone belongs in the everyone gets fired tier. Seriously. Oh, it's so bad. It's worse than Steve.
I said I was sorry.
Shut up.
Again, I'm talking about two games at the same time. To be 100% with you, I just don't want to waste my breath by saying the same thing twice. So they're both shoved together. And both Resistance and Reverse are another attempt at an online game. Luckily, the people working on these actually seemed to try, unlike Umbrella Corps. These are basically slightly different versions of a battle royale in the Resident Evil universe. I like the idea of these games more than the games themselves. With balancing issues and the bare bones of what could be put in these, I just need them to be fleshed out some. Maybe fleshed out enough to have an actual release and not just a digital release. Because as we all know, digital releases don't actually count. Both are D-tier games that I hope Capcom keep working on because these could be really good. They're just not there yet. See? I told you everyone else was wrong. Or do you think I'm wrong? Comment below, like, subscribe, and all that other good stuff. Make sure you pick up your copy of the Resident Evil 4 remake on Friday at Level 7 Games, of course, and tell me what's your favorite Resident Evil so far, and what's your least favorite. I'm gonna have to say my favorite that I can always replay is the original Resident Evil 2. And excluding the obvious picks, my least favorite to revisit is probably Resident Evil 0. There's just too much damn backtracking, even by Resident Evil standards. And on that note, official sign-off.